This
Yeah,
conference will
sure,
now
sure,
be
Arsha.
recorded.
So, Arsha, I have around 2 decades of experience into SAP. I
Mm-hmm.
worked initially on plant maintenance, project system, then later I moved to WM, logistic execution, EWM. Okay, so that's around my more functional experience and background.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So at the moment you are looking for production planning training, you meant to say?
Yes, 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 you're right.
Okay. So yeah. All right. Just give me a second.
Yeah, sure.
So when you say Sanjay, when you say 2 decades, I mean overall 20 years of experience in terms of SAP, or the whole SAP, or um, was
Yeah,
that
yeah,
any
it's
prior?
it's
Okay. Okay. Got that.
yeah, 2 decades completely into SAP. Worked on all possible different projects, programs on different roles.
Okay. Okay. So can I just ask you why now SAP PP?
Yeah, I do see some of the opportunities in my local region, more focus on
Mm.
production planning. So that's why I thought, okay, I have to anyway have to upgrade myself on some of the new skills. So looking at PP, more sort of
Okay.
uh, yeah opportunities. That's why I decided to get into it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So you are basically residing in India or outside India, Sanjay?
I'm in Stockholm, Harsha. Right now, I'm on holidays in India, but then
Oh, okay.
next week I'll travel back in Stockholm.
Very nice. All right. So let me share my screen. I don't know. It is asking for some. Just give me a second. It is asking for certain permission.
Maybe Sai need to make you presenter, or
No, I think I'm presenter. Go to meeting is asking for. I will just rejoin back. It is asking me to restart the go to meeting. Just
yeah.
give me 2 minutes. I'll restart back.
Okay.
Sai, can you make me presenter now again? Thank you. I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, fine. All right.
Before we move, maybe Harsha, would you like to give a
I'm
quick intro about
yeah,
yourself?
yeah. I'm going to give that. I'm going to do that. All
Yeah,
right.
thanks.
So, Sanjay, yeah, my name is Harsha. Like, I have close around 16 years of experience in terms of SAP. Uh, I basically work as a what do you say, solution architect in terms of supply chain management. So I take care of production planning, quality management, plant maintenance, to a certain extent, material management and PPDS. So these are the modules which I take care. Along with that, like I worked on few project system implementation as well. So I'm more into an supply chain management, and I take care of this module. And From a production planning perspective, I worked in discrete manufacturing, I worked in repetitive as well as in the process industry. So that's a quick intro about me, Sanjay. So
Thank
I'm based out of Bangalore, and yeah, I work in Bangalore.
Okay, okay, great. Thanks, Arsha.
All right. So I think uh, m- from a training perspective, I I think I it does not make sense for me to start it from the scratch, because you have a 20 years of experience. I think most of the things you may be aware. I think it need to be a tailor made training kind of a thing which we need to do for you from a PP perspective, production planning perspective. So that's what I feel, because usually what I'm going to do is I have a deck which I'm going to use it for an a lesser experienced people, or who does not have a experience in terms of SAP. So we are going to start it from the scratch. So as you have a good amount of experience, I think it make me easy to make you understand certain concept. Yeah, I think it is going to be more of an advanced related production planning process which we are going to do. So that's what I feel.
Yeah,
So
agree.
yeah. So from a production planning perspective, I mean, I will not go on all these particular aspects, in a sense like integration and all. We are going to touch base, but I'm not going to give you about the introduction and all. So in the training program, what we are going to focus is like majorly we are going to talk about the three different things. One is master data, configuration data, and the transactional data. So these three aspects will be kept in the consideration while doing the training. And in this training process, what we are going to majorly look in is like we are going to understand about the production planning process, how exactly the planning process is going to take place, what are the different strategies that we are going to utilize for the make to order scenario, make to stock scenario, and configure to order, right, and engineering to order. So how exactly this process is going to work, I think we are going to deal about those aspects. We will try to touch base on what do you say, uh, discrete manufacturing process as an initial, and once we complete the discrete manufacturing process, I think we will switch back to the repetitive manufacturing, and once the repetitive manufacturing is done, I think we'll switch back to the process. So that's how the training process is going to happen. So do you have any special requirement in the training process, or what is that exactly you are looking from a training point of view, Sanjay?
So from training perspective, certainly it's a more hands-on experience on production planning, which should help me for getting certification as well. And more here, I want to focus on process industry.
Okay. Okay. So process industry more focus in the sense like you would like to understand about the PI sheets. You need to understand about the what do you say, how the process industry is going to work. So that will be the primary
Yeah,
focus in the training process. You meant to say, right?
yeah, yeah.
All right. Fantastic. So, I mean, just to give you some sort of a glimpse about how exactly we are going to run this particular process is like, as you rightly said, I mean, uh, my training program is going to be oriented towards the practical rather than presenting certain things. And I'm not going to talk about the presentation, which I'm going to eventually share with you. But the major focus would be on the uh, what do you say, the practical experience that we are going to have. So we are going to take certain scenarios, and we'll try to run through the scenarios, and we'll understand how exactly it is going to work. So altogether, this particular what do you call training program should take, if it is focused towards the process industry, I think it should take somewhere around 30-35 hours of a training session. uh, but uh, the way I'm going to do the training is pretty straightforward, where usually I'm not going to keep a count on the number of hours that we are going to spend. It is the quality of training what we are going to get, right? So that will be the major focus which I'm going to do. uh, yeah, I mean, we will focus on the what do you call end date, or we will have some target date when we need to complete this particular training program. But eventually in between that, I will not keep any count of a training number of hours that we have spent. So that's an one thing which I need to update to you. So are you looking for any sort of a what do you say, the process industry integrated with quality management or something like that?
Yeah, that's a normal aspect you see, right? PPQM tightly integrated, where you also see some integration with WM parts. So those level of integrations, but then more focus on production planning. So what we can do, the step maybe before you shown Harsha on this, uh, I think second slide, right? Last slide, what you referred here, we need to start systematically looking at the organizational and master data. What are the important master data?
Hmm.
Starting from your organization structure setup in logistic, right? Production plant, and what are the important org struct, followed with master data, and then apart from master data, then how logically we see the different processes comes in play. Because again, end of the day, it's based upon your manufacturing process type, your end-to-end scenario will differ, but then it's a production order or plan order that will come in play, and it is similar to your maintenance order. The life cycle, you start from creation to means planning, scheduling, execution, and closure completion, right? So settlement and all aspect comes there. So we need to just fine tune it, more touching base on important crux, starting from your design discussions, what's important, and then you get into your configuration, build activities, and then what are important aspect when you get into your deployment, where more focused for UAT, and then whatever the preps needed for cutover deployment, and then helping more or helping or guiding the uh, your operators, production operator on shop floor. So those sort of the aspects we need to touch more in detail, Arshay, here.
Yeah, I got that. I mean, what I'm trying to make you aware is like, anyway, we are going to go with a systematic approach only, in a sense like, as you rightly said, we are going to start with the enterprise structure. Taking the enterprise structure into the consideration, we will have our plant built, right? So in that particular plant, we will first focus on the master data that is required for the production planning process to execute, right? The point here is, uh, as a initial process, I'm going to focus on the process industry. I will not talk about the discrete manufacturing. Discrete manufacturing probably will take it later, because if I'm trying to talk about the production planning, right, or if I try to talk about the SAP PP, so until you go to the planning, it is going to remain same, like the one which you are seeing in the screen, right? So either it is going to be a forecast or the sales order which you are going to create, which will eventually generate you the demand, right? So the demand is going to come to the demand management, that is MD61, or via VA01, the demand is going to get appeared in your MD04 screen. You're eventually going to run the MRP for that. Once your MRP is run, based on the procurement type that you are going to use, system is going to decide whether the purchase requisition has to be generated or the planned order has to be generated, right? So until this process, it is going to be a single line. In a sense, there will be no deviation until the MRP process. Where exactly the deviation is going to happen? The deviation is going to happen based on the master data that you are going to set up, right? When you're talking about a process industry, it has a different set of a master data. When you're talking about a repetitive manufacturing, it has a different set of a data. When you're talking about a discrete manufacturing, it has a different set of a data. When I say different set of a data, I mean, if I try to forward this particular slide, what I mean to say here is, uh, these are the basic master data which are essential for your production process to run, right? So uh, the material is going to be the common. Whereas when we are talking about a discrete manufacturing, we talk it as a routing, right? Eventually we call it as a task list, but if it is a discrete manufacturing, we call it as a routing. Whereas when it is going to be the process industry, we are going to call this as a master recipe, because you're nowhere you are going to use it as a routing, because you're going to have a different set of a process defined in the master recipe. So hence you are going to call it as a master recipe. And the work center will be called in the discrete manufacturing, but when it comes to a process industry, you're not in anymore, you're not going to call it as a work center, you're going to call it as a resource, right? So likewise, PRT is going to remain same, bill of material is going to remain same. The major difference is going to happen from the master data perspective. How the master data is set up, and what is the production scheduling profile that you are utilizing, what order type you are picking, what transaction you are going to use, is going to define what process you are going to follow, right? So after MRP run, in the production process, it is going to branch into a three different things, as I told you. So usually my primary aspect will be a discrete manufacturing for the training process. But in your case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tailor it as a process industry, so that the majority of the focus from a day one is going to be towards the process industry. I think because that is essential for you, right? So that's how we are going to run this process. You're getting my point, right? What I mean to say,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Sanjay.
yeah. Makes sense, Harsha. Yeah,
So that's how I need to build. And yeah, when it comes to an, I mean, when I say that you want to understand about a quality management integration, because in the quality management, when you go to the MIC, master inspection characteristic, you have something called as a reference characteristics, right? So whatever the value that you are going to have it in the PI sheet, or whatever the value that you are going to enter, uh, that information will be transmitted back to your quality management, which is an integration portion. Let's say while doing a manufacturing process, right? You have you have put some ingredient, and at that particular point in time, what is the density of your end product, so that you have captured as a what do you call, value in your production confirmation. And you don't want the quality person to do that particular aspect, so you want to transmit that density directly into the quality management via certain reference characteristic, right? So how that is getting integrated. So those kind of a concept, I think we have to focus, and we need to understand. It is going to be a bit of a extensive, and it is going to be a bit of a technical thing, which we need to look in. All right. So yeah, I think that's how we have to build. And from a training process perspective, eventually we will start with the master data. So in the master data, we are going to talk about the material master. I think you pretty much you know everything in the master data. Sorry, in the material
yeah,
master, what is essential from a production planning process, and how this is going to have an impact on my production planning process. That is what we are going to understand, right, from a master data perspective. So when it comes to a bill of material, we are going to understand what are the different kind of a bill of material you have, wherein we are going to touch base on the variant bill of material and multi-bomb and simple bomb. But essentially, when we are talking about a process industry, we don't consider the variant bill of material. So it is going to be more of a simple bill of material or a multiple bomb. It does not mean that we are not going to talk on this. We are going to talk on the variant bill of material, which is basically branching towards a SAP VC, right? Variant configuration. So we will try to understand how exactly it is going to happen, and we'll discuss on all this bill of material related stuff. We'll take some layman example to make it more rememberable concept. So likewise, yeah, I mean, likewise, we are going to talk about phantom bill of material. What is it use? And in the work center, what do you mean by work center, and what do you mean by resource? And how exactly the category is going to have an impact on selection of a work center or a resource. In case of a work center, you are going to use CR01. When it comes to a process industry, the transaction is going to get deferred as a CRC1. So likewise, there are a thin difference between the process industry and discrete manufacturing. We'll try to focus on those things. But as I told you, the majority of the focus will be on the process industry. So all the transaction which we are going to start it from the day one is going to be more emphasized towards the process industry, not on the discrete manufacturing. But at the end of those training program, we are going to do a very superficial run on the discrete manufacturing, Once you understand, I mean, to be honest with you, once you understand the process industry, discrete manufacturing is going to be super easy for you, because process industry is going to have a wider spectrum, which is going to have the what do you call, discrete manufacturing process in it. So I think it should be okay for you. So
Mm,
yeah, I mean, that's how the, the what do you say, uh, the process is going to happen. And there are certain, what do you say, um, concepts, right? So you have something called as a MQC, material quantity calculation, in the master recipe. How the material quantity calculation should happen, and what is the implication of those things. So I think that is going to be bit of a very complicated topic. Most of the people will try to, uh, skip those concepts. So I mean, whether uh, let me be very candid, whether I will be able to set up that particular scenario in the system or not, but I'm going to help you to understand what is a concept, right? At least if I give you some sort of a clarity about the concept, at a later point in time, in case if you get an opportunity, I think you should be able to explore it easily, and you should be able to do it. I have done the
yeah.
MQC process probably 7 8 years back. I have to,
Mhm.
brush it up. So uh, another very important thing which we need to be very clear from a process industry. Usually the process industry scenarios, what we are going to train is not going to be the 100% training. Let us be very very practical on it. uh, People may say that they are going to give you the 100% training. 100% they cannot give the training on the process industry. The reason for that is, you have a MES system. The MES system is usually going to get integrated into SAP, right? So the
Mm,
data will be coming from the MES system. Usually in the process industry, you're going to have a semantic, Siemens related, semantic interface will be there, or you may be having some other GE related interfaces. So it will be it. I mean, machines will be having certain, MES unit which is directly linked to SAP, and it is going to give you the information on a regular basis, right? So you will be
mm,
processing some IDOC, or you will be processing some XML file. Using that XML file, you're going to do the confirmation on a regular basis. So that's how the integration is going to happen. And this is the natural process in the process industry. The one which we are going to show is going to be a very plain vanilla process, right?
mm,
It is just going to give you the fundamental, but in
mm,
reality, it is going to be super duper different in the real time environment. So, I
mm,
mean, it does not mean that I'm not trying to frighten you on certain things, but uh, uh, want to be very practical with you, because in the test system, I may not be able to create that kind of a scenario, right? So I am going to take you in certain areas very superficially. It does not mean that, like, I'm not interested to do that, because we don't have an infrastructure in the sandbox, in the training sandbox, to have certain kind of a mock interface or something like that. So that, I think you should be able to understand that very clearly. So I need to give a lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
lecture on that.
that's yeah, that's understandable, Asha. Not an issue.
and uh, and the
So,
second thing which I also want to emphasize you is the PI sheet. Whatever the PI sheet we are going to talk, right? PI sheet is again depending on the, what do you call, system status. In a sense, whatever the sandbox that we are going to use, if the sandbox is in a good condition, if someone is not screwed up, we will be able to set up the PI sheet. Not very complicated, a simple PI sheet can be set up. If there is some sort of a issue in the system, usually what we are going to do is we are going to raise a SAP OSS, and SAP is going to give us a solution for enabling the PI sheet in certain cases. I'm not sure. I have not the new sandbox which Sai has given. I have not gone inside to check the, PI sheet and all. So uh, there are certain things which we need to be very practical, where we will try to do the setup of a PI sheet It may work, it may not work in certain time due to the system constraint. It is not about the technicality, it is because of the system, setup, how it has happened. uh, it may work or it may not work. So likewise, if I try to talk about the process industry related training, 80% we may achieve, 20% hiccups will be there. So that's what I wanted to appraise you in an upfront.
And that's appreciable, Harsha. I do understand this practical
Yeah.
limitation. What we are doing the training is in the standalone sandbox system. Okay, so don't worry.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, and another thing which I wanted to let you know is like, as I told you, this is going to be the tailor made, what do you call, training process. Even let's say that if you are okay with the training process and if you want to continue with the training process, I might need a time of 1 week to 10 days to analyze the system and set up the data in it to run one simple cycle. The reason for that is, if the sandbox is not good, probably I need to talk to Sai and need to get a different sandbox. If it is working fine, I have to do certain documentation and I have to show it to you. That's the reason. I I need to have a preparatory time of, let's say, 7 days should be fine. If you can allow 7 days of time, I think I will ensure that all the system related stuff is up and right, and we will encounter minimal issues on this system.
Okay,
So
so you are asking here now to start the course after 7 days. Is
let's
that the
assume
right
that,
understanding?
right, let's assume that if you are okay with the training process, if you confirm that you want to go with the training process, from the day that you are going to confirm, I need a minimum of 7 days to start the training process to you,
Okay,
because I need
okay,
to do some sort of a tweak in the documentations, and I have to. Well, let me be very practical, right? I need to do a dry run on this because I don't want to hiccup in front of you. So I want to do
mm,
a dry run. I want to, brush up my process industry, information back, and then I have to take it.
mm, yeah. So just couple of things now, Harsha. Okay,
Hmm.
so you understood my overall requirement. Okay,
Absolutely,
now
yeah.
what 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 I need, just a couple of things now in terms of making this training success for me. And what I mean success is, I need to get a certification for sure here. Okay, so on this particular training, you will help me to share which certification I should look into, I should apply, and then
Yeah.
I we will go through the overall syllabus as well, right, for the certification.
Uh, I mean, syllabus in a sense, like, see, I'll tell you. Again, this is going to be much of a practical related training which I'm going to do when you are
Mm,
talking about a certification, right? So,
mm,
uh, certification is going to have around, like, I mean, whatever the syllabus it is there in certification, of course, we are going to cover that. I'm not going to skip anything. But if you try to talk about the syllabus that you have in the certification, I think I have to review that. I mean, the latest syllabus I have not reviewed. There should not be any sort of addition or deletion in it, but I need to review
mm.
that. Uh, 80 to 90% it should be aligned to the certification related syllabus. And I'm going to give you the certification number which we are trying to talk.
Yeah, exactly. So I need certification number. You also go through the syllabus, and even if you will not going to cover the entire 100% of the syllabus content, that's fine. But then I want to get more flavor on the practical stuff, more on your experience, more on
Practical
hands-on, and
skills.
more to understand the end user sort of the issues, challenges, what are the real-time problem we do face, right?
That is absolutely covered. That's the reason I'm trying to ask you, because see, I'll tell you, let me be very candid with you. See, I mean, it's been 4 years. Practically, I have not worked on the process industry. Before to 4 years, I have worked for one of the Australian company. It's a what do you call, beer manufacturing company where I have done the implementation of a process. So I need to brush up my thought process, because we have a very beautiful concept. I'll tell you, the material quantity calculation is going to be one of the beautiful concept what SAP has given, but it is so complicated, right? I made a documentation related to that. I have read that 100 times, but if you ask me now also, without reading that, I will not be able to replicate the scenario. So that is that complicated. So, I mean, if I try to give you some sort of a information, right, I love to give you the clear clarity about that, and I don't want to bluff anything. And moreover, I need to be very candid with you. If I'm not able to cover certain things, I'm going to tell you that I don't know this, or I will not be able to cover this, so that like you will be aware that this particular topic is excluded in the training process, right? So at least you can put a effort to understand, in case if you can. So we will have a very clear candid training session, Sanjay.
But then, Harsha, I don't want to land up in the situation where I do think, let's say, maybe soon I will going to start some, let's say, assignment in this particular area, and in that case, if as part of that assignment, some of the topics are very critical, very important to
Those things are
understand,
covered.
and if
Don't
you
worry about that.
and yeah, but then if you don't know, then I think that should be fine. But then I need help for jointly exploring those topics
No,
to
no,
to
that of course we can do that. I mean, see, I mean, if I say that I don't know the concept, it does not mean that uh, we are not going to put a effort. What I mean to say here is, process industry is going to be very complicated one. I think many people might know about this. It has a infinity learning in it. Every time you go into the process industry, you're going to have a different sort of a process in it, right? So what I mean to say here is, let's say, while doing a MQC, if you're not able to derive certain things, right, which I'm going to tell you that we are not able to derive because of certain XYZ reason. But from a concept perspective, I'm going to give you the clear clarity about this, how exactly it is going to happen. And later we can get in and we can look into that. That's a different topic.
okay.
We should be able to do that, yeah.
Super. So Harsha, let's do the reverse calculation now. So I want
Hmm.
to focus for completing this training by end of February.
End of February. I think it's how many weeks? Four leap year, 6 weeks. Okay. Okay. February end should be bit difficult, Sanjay.
Okay. So when you think March
It
mid or March end?
I think it will run till March mid, if I'm right.
Okay. So if we focus end of March, then how we should run through now our training sessions. So assuming now today is what date today? It is 5th, right? Yeah. So 5th today it is Friday. So maybe let's say 7, 13. So 13 we start our batch, right? We start our
Mm-hmm.
course on
Mm-hmm.
13th of January.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, which is Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's say we start on Saturday, and next week after that I will not be available, as I will be traveling back to Stockholm, focusing other things. But then let's look into our availability, your working time and all, in terms of
Yeah.
jointly agreeing
So,
on the
I mean, what
training
I'm planning
slots.
is, Sanjay, I mean, we are going to have weekly twice or thrice. Uh,
Hmm.
3 days in a week, we are going to have a session. So, three
Hmm.
days in a week, in the sense, uh, let's say, if we focus 10 weeks, right? Approximately,
Hmm.
I'm telling 10
Hmm.
weeks I mean, within 10 weeks, I think we should be able to wrap up the things. 10 weeks in the sense, it is going to be close to 2.5 months, right? It'll fall somewhere around mid of March.
Hmm.
So, I mean, usually I will be available in morning times, India time. I work for a US shift.
And Your shift. Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
So I'm in Stockholm, so we are 4.5 hour behind Indian time. So
correct.
if my morning is like 7, it's 11:30 Indian time. So you think 11 is maybe, let's say, 6:30. If I start the batch maybe 6:30 or 6 or 7 sometime, based upon if I had to go to office, I will ask you maybe 6 o'clock. If I don't have to go to office, maybe 7 o'clock. Is that something should be fine with you, or?
Yeah, it should be fine. It should be fine. I mean, I usually not do the training very often. I mean, usually I'll take in a year I'm going to take one or two batch, not more than that. So uh,
Okay.
I think in this year you will be the second batch. So and I don't have any other thing which is lined up at the moment. Apart from, I might be traveling to US in the month of February for two weeks. During that time, I think we can have a conversation and we'll try to manage the timings.
Mhm.
So apart from that, I think it should be okay, Sanjay.
Okay, super, super. So let's go ahead with this. I want to proceed with you, Harsha. There is no second thought now. Okay. So
Right.
you have my go now. So you have this 1 week time needed for looking around the sandbox, checking some end-to-end scenario what you want to test, to look into system whether it's good to proceed, or you need some things to fix before
I think
we
it should be fine.
kick
It
off.
should be fine. It should be fine because in case if there is extra time required, I think we can complete the market data. Meanwhile, so I think you will be traveling in between next week to 2 weeks after that. So I think we can take that time as a productive time, and I can utilize that. All right.
Okay. So when you think then we can start?
From next week, I think next week Saturday we will start.
Okay. So Saturday, maybe I'm here in India, so even if you say around 10 is also fine for me. 10 a.m.
Yeah, Saturday 10 o'clock we can join.
Yeah,
Okay. So also, also what
that.
days we'll plan?
Sai, I need
Okay.
time
Hmm.
to check my calendar
Okay. Sure. Sure.
because I will be traveling out
Mm-hmm.
on Tuesday and Thursday. So that's the reason. Considering that, I think we'll decide.
Yeah. Yeah. So usually we'll not have
So
class.
maybe, yeah, we can keep one on the weekend for sure, Saturday or Sunday, and maybe then if we do Saturday, then Monday, Wednesday, that might help us, right?
Yeah,
Looking at the time. Yeah.
Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday seems to be okay for me. Um, yeah,
Okay, let's do that. We can jointly agree on that. I think we need to be a
sure.
little flexible on both sides. Yeah,
Absolutely. That's okay, Sanjay. We should be able to manage.
yeah,
The end target is going to be the March 15th, and keeping that into the consideration, I think some week. I mean, if you are available, if I am available, we can work for 5 weeks, or else we can work for 2, 3. I mean, we'll have it flexible. We'll ensure that the end date will be matched without compromising the quality on the training.
yeah.
All right, Sanjay.
Superb.
Nice speaking to you. So yeah, hope that we'll have a successful training.
Yeah, definitely looking forward for that, Harsha. Nice talking with you. Thank you.
Same here, Sanjay. Thank you.
Thanks, Sai. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks,
Thank you,
Sai.
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll communicate about timings offline
thank
with
you.
both of you. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.